smell that, boys? Smells like the time for a new video. New video. Senpai Torpid Dao, STD, STD video, new STD video. Face Commander. Sindri! That was terrible. Fuck. Man, it's been a while since I've been growling to death metal. I can't do that shit at all anymore. What the hell was that? That was pathetic. I need to get back on my metal game. So here's a game between STD and Darkhero. So if you root for the guy called STD, who's also in red and playing the bad guys as Chaos, instead of the guy who has Hero in his name and is playing the Force Commander, you're a dick. So don't do that. I don't remember when this game was from, very long time ago. We're really delving deep into the annals of history to get these replays up at the moment. There's actually not that many decent replays left for 2.9.2. Really can't wait for 2.9.3 to come out. Honestly though, when this comes out, this video, we might even have 2.9.3. I'm recording a shitload of videos before the 5th of January because then I'm going to be gone for a couple of months. So I don't know when this will be uploaded, but regardless. Not the best boss there. Come on, STD. That was fucking shit. I wonder if there's an STD that can sort of inhibit your perception, your dexterity. Maybe it's the Chaos Sorcerer has a bit of that. Hang on, is he pink? No, he's not. He is wearing Zichin colours. It's not a Slaneshi Sorcerer. So probably doesn't have that many STDs in spite of the name. So we got Boss in the Observer chat, we got Shoulder Mount. Lots of bats, yeah, lots of bats. It's true. Very true. I think this is Night Lords, maybe? Yeah, it's Night Lords. They like their bats. Wouldn't mind to see a bit of a reskin for the Sorcerer to make him into Batman. When you play the Night Lords, that'd be cool. Batman STD, STD Sorcerer, Batman Sorcerer. Magic Batman. So what happens in this matchup then? Chaos Sorcerer versus Force Commander. Now a lot of people historically would say that the Chaos Sorcerer struggles against the Force Commander for the simple reason that the Chaos Sorcerer, he's a Chaos hero, right? Look at the rosters. Okay, so you start with 2 Heretics and CSM typically, so no ranged. I mean, they do have ranged weapons, but let's face it, these dirty little pistols, they do basically 0 damage. You're never going to put them in range stance.
Field asset location secure.
CSM are your only ranged unit to kill the Force Commander, but the problem is, they do pretty poor damage. They do less damage than Tactical Marines. Compared to like double Dire Avengers, compared to double Guardsmen and Sentinel, compared to Tactical Marines, compared to Shooter Boys, compared to bloody everything, even Termagants. They're going to put out more damage than CSM, 2 Termagants obviously, because CSM costs 400 rec.
Adding power generator.
So by the time you get 2 CSM out, you could have 3 or 4 Termagants, so you can't just compare squad to squad. Basically what this means is the opening build for the Chaos Sorcerer is really low in range DPS, and the Force Commander then becomes a problem because he's relatively tanky for a decently speedy hero, and he has Battlecry, which instantly shuts down the Heretics. If he stands next to his Tactical Marines and activates Battlecry, you can't engage with your Heretics. They're going to get sent flying, and they're going to do nothing. They're really vulnerable to specials, which is why they have 75 melee skill to start with, so you can't special attack them, because they're meant to be a melee counter. It doesn't work when the Force Commander uses Battlecry and his triggering specials guaranteed with every hit. So that was traditionally why people would say it was a bad engagement. And then it kind of scales up as well, but I feel like in Tier 2, it's not really that big of a deal. You don't care about the Force Commander anymore, because you can just get the Chains of Torment. Or the Robes of Torment that then give you the spell, the Chains of Torment. If you don't know what that does, it's a Tier 2 war gear on the Sorcerer. You buy the armor, increases your HP like pretty much all armors do, but it gives you the Chains of Torment ability. You click the ability, you click anywhere on the map, and it spawns this little entity, and the entity will do 100% snare to any nearby units. So the Force Commander can teleport on top of your ass. Oh, beautiful nade spike. I actually thought that was going to do a bit more than that. That was pretty unfortunate. Wow, this is crazy. This is a massive tier 1 from both sides. Yeah, so anyway, it spawns a little entity, and anything that comes near it is 100% snared, so you can just shoot that down, and then the Force Commander can't move, and then you can shoot him up. and you get a bit more options to deal with a Force Commander in Tier 2. Your melee units in Tier 1 are Raptors and Heretics, so they're not great against the Force Commander, but when you start getting things like Bloodletters, it becomes a lot easier to deal with the Force Commander. And now that was a good Doom Bolt. Shame it wasn't 6 bolts and it was only 3, because that would have done insane damage to those ASM. You've got to remember, even if you don't kill the models of the ASM, you're still weakening them, so that they have to then be stuck in base healing for quite a long time to regain their full combat effectiveness. Let's have a look. Okay, so they don't actually have the elite training. You can generally tell by the energy regen. So I must have missed micro there actually. I must have been focusing on the attacks and he slipped them in and got into melee while I was distracted down here. Anyway, I don't really think that the matchup does favour the Force Commander that much, to be honest with you. It's true that the Force Commander himself can be a bit of a pain early on, but quite frankly, you just ignore him. And the damage output against the heavy infantry from the Doombots, I just think it's amazing. Let's see how much this does. Look at that! That was just 3 Doombots, not 6. So he has to retreat them now, because if I get a 6-bolt Doombot off against those Devastators with that HP, they will wipe. Tried to go for another grenade spike, I think. Ooh. And another one. With the For the Emperor buff, that probably would have wiped the Raptors at this point, but I'm privy to it.
Scouts ready.
So yeah, this is going to be a really high level game. I was playing a bit more actively here when this was happening. So was Darkhero, so this is really high quality Chaos versus Space Marines. I think a lot of the talk about the Force Commander dominating the Sorcerer comes from 3v3, where you play in a sort of lane-based game mode. Oh, and this is a cool thing to know. You can always go for the Grenade Launcher Heretics as well to give you a little bit more range DPS. Elite mod buffed the autoguns on the Heretics, so that they actually do non-insignificant damage. I wouldn't call it significant damage, but it's non-insignificant. Which, you know, gives you another little source of range DPS, and it's decent as well because he chose to go for the Devastators, which is a bit more of a rare pick. You typically wouldn't see Devastators against the Chaos Sorcerer. In theory, I could go for the Sigil of the Rift and teleport them into my Heretics and my Raptors and potentially Bloodletters in Tier 2 and kill them quite easily, but he could counter that with the Librarian in Tier 2. Sigil of the Rift is a Tier 1 ability, but it's quite hard to get wipes on squads if you don't have 2 melee Heretics. So I don't know, I guess I felt like I'd already spent enough. Actually, no, what am I talking about? I'm already in Tier 2 at this point, and I've gone for 4 gens, which is another interesting thing to note. In 1v1, you never, ever want more than 4 generators. Never. There is no circumstance in which it will be beneficial. Another nice dodge of the grenades there. Good damage from the grenade launchers on the Tactical Marines. Grenade launchers get a... I don't know what damage type they are, but they might have their own grenade launcher damage type, but regardless, it does a nice amount of damage to heavy infantry, which compensates for the fact that heavy infantry models tend to be a bit more scarce in a squad than light infantry. Obviously, Doombots are AoE, so they're going to really punish things like Guardsmen and Termagants. But they're not Doombots. Grenade launchers. But actually, it applies to Doombots as well, same thing. They're plasma, so they do bonus damage to heavy infantry and less to light infantry. Again, because they're AoE, so they want them to still be decent against heavy infantry. Not useless. So I'm not retreating the Grenade Launch Heretics instantly here, just to delay him a little bit, just to keep him busy. While I try and engage in some sort of combat elsewhere. Actually force them to waste their jump here, which is pretty nice. I probably should just be retreating them at this point though, to be honest. You've got to be careful in this matchup because you always have to consider the potential of this. That was really lucky. Wasn't quite close enough to that other model to kill it. But yeah, cheeky little grenades and retreat path can be very vicious. So I actually teched all the way up to a Dreadnought. That's pretty wild. And I'm ahead in VPs as well. So this game, I say it's going pretty well for me so far. He hasn't managed to get a bash off either. Let's have a look at the levels. So both heroes are roughly the same XP. Nice grenade again there. I mean, he loses 3 scouts, but he did injure my aspiring champion. so he could potentially fall in another engagement. Darkhero has actually matched my generators. In fact, he's gone for 5, which, yeah, as I say, is completely unnecessary. There's no instance, essentially, where you're going to end up needing that, because you never end up with more requisition. Every squad costs requisition. Every upgrade costs requisition. It's not like you can buy things just with power. So you're always going to end up with an excess of power, unless you somehow never bleed ever, but you will. If you're fighting in engagements, you're going to lose models no matter how good you are. That's just the nature of the game. So you never ever want to be dropping more than 4 generators in a 1v1. Obviously in a 3v3 that's different, because the generators give you different amounts of value in team games, because you share them with your allies, so they don't give you as much. I don't actually know what the optimal amount of generators it is in a 3v3. I would imagine it's probably something like 9. We never want more than 9. Maybe that's too high. Maybe it's about 8. But I'm not sure. So I'd just be guessing on that one. But I can safely say to you all, remember this now, you never ever want to get more than 4 generators in a 1v1 at any one time. Because you might build 5 generators if you were expecting to lose them on the farm. That's a different matter. So you see that I have actually gone for the Robes of Torment, because as I was talking about earlier, I want that Chains of Torment ability. You might see it in action here. In fact, we do. Look at it. Here's the entity. Now they can shoot it down, and he is. That will make it disappear a little bit quicker, but this synergizes really well with the auto cannon play. So I can really punish him, put on a lot of damage onto his ASM, and keep that Force Commander quite a bit back away from me. Oh, this is not ideal, actually. The Dreadnought should turn around and start meleeing. Oh god, Grenade instantly wipes the habit. I think I've lost the Dreadnought. Yeah. I should probably have just retrieved the Sorcerer and walked it out, but then again, it gets to a certain point where... It gets to a certain point where the enemy amasses critical AV. Oh, actually going to get the wipe on the Force Commander. Okay, that's quite good. For some reason I use a Demonic Sacrifice here, really wanting to win the engagement. I'm not really sure it's worth it though, to be honest with you. I mean, what does this achieve for me? He's only got 1 generator in the first place. Yeah, as Adilla says, the circle came a bit late. I should have used that ages ago. At this point, it's not really helping too much. I mean, he's just kiting around it. My Raptors are alone. They're not doing decent enough damage against Scouts. Scouts do have melee resist, remember? So unless you punish them with the jump to make it so they can't run away, you just don't do that good damage. Yeah, and I end up actually having the Raptors get forced off. So that demonic summoning was a complete waste. Don't know why I did that. Shouldn't have. But I recognise that he's invested a lot of power into anti-vehicle, which is something that the Space Marines often have to do. So that's 40 power for the missile launcher. That's 50 power on the Force Commander for the Power Fist. He has 2 fully upgraded Scouts. They're not AV, but that's something to know as well. And 20 power on the Melter Bomb. So basically, he's going to be stuck in Tier 2 for a good while. That said, he did have the 5 generators earlier, so he's actually got to quite a substantial amount of power regardless of that. But as you can see at this point, really his requisition is a bit more of a problem. What's going on down here? Oh, these Scouts are in a very dubious position. Really nice grenade again. Oh, domino knockbacks in and that guy flying. No. Oh, is it going to get the wipe? Is it going to get the wipe? Oh, that was... STD. Far too late on the warp fire. At least he's trying though, eh boys? At least he's trying. Trying to make those plays for the viewers. It's just not good enough. So those cheeky grenades have been pretty punishing. I mean, look at that. Look at the cost in the Aspiring Champion. 100 requisition, 25 power. So if you keep wiping them out, it can be pretty strong. So let's talk about the Rod of Warpfire. What's good about the Rod of Warpfire? Well, look at that. It doesn't just increase his melee DPS, it also increases his range DPS. Now, you don't get fire on the move with it, so it's not like a bolter or a pistol, but it's full range, like it's the range of a bolter, and it's 35 DPS, without making him weaker in melee. For fuck's sake, STD, what was that? Obviously predicting the devs to go this way, but when they were here, how are they going to end up retreating there? God, watching this back, I must have been like tilted as fuck or something, because I'm making some awkward plays here. Awkward plays. But yeah, that's cool, right? Because as I was talking about in the early game, you're really concerned when you're playing the Chaos Sorcerer about killing this damn Force Commander because you have no range DPS. You can't beat him in melee thanks to Battlecry. Well, you get the Rod of Warpfire, you're still decent in melee. Attacks don't want to fight you in melee. but all of a sudden, you've got beautiful range DPS. I mean, it's okay, right? 35 DPS, that's about the same as the Tech Marine by default. And you're also seeing you get the Warp Fire ability, which is... Does it tell me? Grants the Warp Fire ability doing plasma cannon damage. Yeah, so I believe that is a bonus modifier against heavy infantry. So again, it's an AoE ability. The Sorcerer loves his AoE abilities. Magic tend to be pretty AoE. But in spite of that, it has a damage modifier to do bonus damage to heavy infantry, which makes it useful even in matchups like this when you're fighting against primarily heavy infantry. Seen how much damage that did to the tactical marines? It's really goddamn strong. Another cheeky grenade spike. Really annoying. Maybe the... Oh yeah, I think that was a dead ASM. Yes, it was. Dead Raptor as well, though. More grenades. So they'll be healing the base for a little bit. Not retreating instantly. Hoping that I can get another clutch kill on the scouts, but I don't. Obviously, I don't want to lose a CSM model. That's not worth the trade against scouts. But as you can see now, look at the power. I even managed to decap his power and bash all these gens. Imagine if I hadn't done that. Imagine that Darkhero had 5 generators right now. Imagine what his power income would be like. And he still has an excess of power, because how much does it cost to go to tier 3? 300 requisition, 150 power. He has loads of power. This is why you do not build 5 generators.
Scouts under attack! Protect! Let this node power a holy crusade.
Okay, so... I just got a Predator out. That's what I was fast taking to. Generally, if you're going to fast take to tier 3, you always want to go for a tank because it just has the most impact. Compared to most of the things... Oh, nice misfire. Is that going to save the scouts? No, it's not. Okay, good. That would have been pretty sad if it did, to be fair. See a Warp Fire. Yep, decent damage. I actually missed that Marine model. Still managed to do a good 400 damage, so that's showing you the power of the Warp Fire and then just going into range stance. Look at this. Oh, it's reloading. I say that from a technical sense, obviously the staff doesn't need to reload. So there's a reload time in terms of the game mechanics. But yeah, you typically go for a tank because the tank has mobility on its side. So mobility is nice because you can jump out onto random squads, bleed them, force them off really quickly, and then you move elsewhere, you get a nice really fast gem bash, you can move in quickly, and oh, dead sorcerer. There's not really much counterplay to that, given that they were infiltrated and that close to me. And tanks counter walkers, because they're fast anti-vehicle. Walkers can't catch up to them, even if they've got an AV upgrade, like the Melter gun on the Space Marine Dreadnought, the Bright Lance and the Wraith Lord. The Bright Lance and the Wraith Lord, the missile launcher from the Mark of Siege Chaos Dreadnought, they will beat the tank one-on-one, but the thing is, any engagement that I commit to with a tank, I can easily drive away and evade the enemy walker if I need to. So long as, you know, I'm privy to the fact that I'm losing, I can escape that engagement. Walkers can't do that because tanks are so much quicker. If they lose the engagement and try and flee, the tank is just going to chase it down, and while the walker's walking away, it's not facing towards the tank, so it's not able to return fire. So that's why the tank has the advantage. Even though one-on-one, if you just drive a tank into a Mark of Siege Dreadnought or a Wraith Lord or a Bright Lance, the tank will lose. We see an orbital bombardment here, let's see. One of them has to be on the Heretics, you would assume. No, it wasn't, but you would have assumed it, so I did de-worship them a retreat, but they do get out of there. And the CSM are all living. They're level 4 now. Level 4 Mark of Siege CSM, okay. So that was a bit of a waste on the nuke there, but I think Darkhero was really feeling the pressure. He's only got 83 VPs left. Nearly missed micro the tank there and turned it the wrong way around. Fortunately, he doesn't have the energy to use the Melter Bomb. I believe it's 40. I'm not actually sure, to be honest. Could have been on cooldown alternatively. Might see the Ropes of Torment again here. Miss micro the tank. Come on, STD. Can he hit it from there? No, he can't. So once again, you see the power of the Robes of Torment. It saves my ass. Beautiful. And you also see the power of the Warp Fire Staff on retreat as well. Is that going to wipe them out? Nope. No. Oh, it did. Wow. A bit of a missed micro on Darkhero's behalf. He actually could have moved down here and saved the devs. So finally, I go for a skillful play and I get the kill. And the Sorcerer using the Rod of Warpfire to its full ability, chipping away at the Force Commander in ranged, weakening his Halo, lowering his HP, and then goes into melee to finish him off. This is why the Rod of Warpfire is really good in the matchup. Now, that didn't do very impressive damage, I must admit, but you've got to remember, and they shall know no fear, increases their damage resistance, which is also why these tank shots aren't doing terribly now as well. But it's nice, it stalls them. Okay, so he does have the Melter Bomb dropping in on me here. He's gone for a Plasma Gun though, so the Tactical Marines don't really threaten the tank, but of course I don't know what else is coming up the back, so I'm a little bit hesitant to engage. I didn't retreat the Chaos Sorcerer, so I can now go over and get that cap. That snare lasts for a while, doesn't it? Have I even lost a gen? I lost one gen. I think he got nails with the missile attacks earlier on. I'm just keeping up the pressure on the VPs, but scouts are everywhere. Scouts are really vital in this matchup. I'm not actually sure when did one of the scouts go down? I'm not even sure I seen that. Maybe I did. Maybe it was on the video and I just didn't mention it. Force Commander is causing a bit of a nuisance because I don't have the Chaos Sorcerer nearby, so can't really engage him with much in melee. Even the Raptors don't do too much. You know, you need something like Bloodletters to beat him in melee. Oh, this is pretty bad. I must have assumed that with... Oh, nice. With the lack of generators on his side, probably assumed that he wasn't able to field the vehicle. Definitely not a Predator in Tier 3, so I moved my Chaos Pred down here to ensure that I win this engagement and get the cap off, but he ambushes me from the side, and obviously that would have been a dead Chaos Predator if it was not for the fact that I'm the Chaos Sorcerer, and so I can teleport it out using my Warp Global. But Predator putting in a lot of work as soon as it hits the field here. Forcing off the Raptors, forcing off the CSM. Those Raptors are going to be in base healing for a long time. Let's look at the levels of the units here. Level 3, level 2, level 4, 3, 4, 3, level 2. Red is fresh. My Predator's level 2, that's nice. So it's getting a little bit of repairs from the double Heretics. That's another reason you want to try and keep your Heretics around into the late game. You want Worship, you want them for the capping, and you want them for repairs. If not, combat. Wow, the VPs are down to 2. What on earth? The VPs are down to 2. So, it's going to take quite the miracle, really, isn't it, for Darkhero to get back here? Oh, beautiful damage from the Doom Balls. Left attacks need to retreat out there. A bit greedy on the Warp Fire, honestly. Bit greedy. Probably going to kill the scouts. One more shell? Yep. Okay, so he's got a 2-0 cap, which is pretty nice. And right now, I need to get the fuck out of here because the Melter, the Power Fist, and the tank, that's just too much. Too much. Using the Infiltration Worship, of course, to try and get my tank out of there while the tank is infiltrated. It can't be shot by the other Predator. The downside is infiltrated units will not shoot. Not by themselves, anyway. Which is a bit annoying, but obviously the purpose of that is because there was never a hold fire command in Dawn of War 2, so if your unit shot while infiltrated, well, it wouldn't make it very effective, would it? Because it wouldn't actually be hidden. So going for a second Predator. Presumably going to make this one the Mark of Tzeentch, using the Infiltration Worship again, so that I can move my CSM in to get the decap, without being shot at by things like Plasma Tactical Marines or the Predator. But at this point, all I need to do is hold both of these VPs for a short period of time. Alternatively, I could just send my entire army down this side of the map and hold these two VPs. That's going to get me the win. That puts a lot of psychological pressure on your opponent. You can see the merit of the Infiltration Worship being used defensively, providing a little bit of a damage resistance to my own Predator. Being able to pop out and ambush the enemy and shoot when I want to engage. Bit of an awkward position for the ASM to jump into there. Of course, he didn't know that I had that many units over there. Again, because of the Infiltration Worship. That's one of the nice things about the CS Worship. People often slate it, but it's just because it's not as obvious how you use it. It's not as easy to use, but it scales really well into the late game. Who uses Nurgle Worship in Tier 3? Not many people. It's not very good. 3.5 HP regen per second is amazing in Tier 1, but it literally has no scaling. It doesn't get any better as the game goes on, and units get more and more HP, get more and more power. So I can't even get the decap here, thanks to the combined firepower of level 4 Tactical Marines and the Predator. I really need to wipe out this Predator. A bit panicked from me there to teleport out the Pred. It was kind of in an okay spot. Oh, I have got the Mark of Tzeentch Predator here though. That's going to ambush, misfires, instantly shooting at the Force Commander. Not ideal, because now I can't stay and try and kill the Predator because the Force Commander, of course, has his Flesh over Steel. If he hits me with that, it turns off my guns, and I am going to be screwed. So a bit of an awkward position here. Now the Predator is chasing me, but I'm going to... Oh, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Oh, wow. Okay. So, massive misplay on my behalf there. Mismicroing the Predator and driving it forward. I don't really know what happened there, but that was terrible. But I'm just going for the decaps anyway, so I'm probably going to win this on VPs. I can't actually remember how this end game goes, so... Oh yeah, that was it. Because I owned the VP on this side and I got the double decap, that's it. You get rid of the 2 VPs and I win. Honestly, in that position, it was kind of looking quite bad for me because... Well, he didn't have any scouts, to be fair, so he would have had to have repurchased scouts to start repairing this Predator, and okay, yeah, he knew they had the requisition to do that, but remember, the scouts have to build, and then they have to spend the time repairing the Predator as well, so it's going to put his Predator offline for a lot of time. That said, he had these Assault Terminators, and I didn't really have anything to kill them. I had these guys, my level 4 Tzeentch Marines, I had the Robes of Torment, maybe I could have got Subjugation, I had a really good economy. Probably would have been fine either way. Maybe get another tank, or just save up for a super unit. I don't know if I'd have had the time for a super unit. But yeah, pretty damn clutch game, because these guys would have been very tough to deal with. And as I say, all you got to do is hold these 2 points, and you can slowly get rid of those last 129 VPs that I had. Have the Predator down here in a relatively safe position, slowly start repairing it. You can screen out any enemy AV with your Terminators. Because they're heavy melee, they can screen out tank pushes as well. And the Force Commander can do the same with him being so damn tanky with the Halo and the Power Fist. Probably could have done with getting Artificer Armor a bit earlier. I think the reason why I won this game is my ability to get a full bash off on Darkhero, whereas he didn't get any sort of bash off on me. He got 1 generator, and I got my 4 generators up earlier than he got his 5. I bashed 2 generators here, and I bashed all 3 here at least once. I think I bashed it multiple times, so that gave me that little bit of a tech advantage. I got my Dreadnought out quicker than he got any Tier 2 units, and I got my Predator out before he got his Predator, which then gave me the VP advantage. And that's how Dawn of War 2 spirals, and that's how a cast goes, and that's the end of it all. Thank you kindly. Torpid out.